Yeah, so I wanted to just jump on here, but I titled this, what stories do you have about yourself and your business? Do they support or are they, contradicting with the vision that you have for your business? And I wanted to bring this up because this is so important and so critical. We tell ourselves stories over and over and over again. Like we have stories based on, the type of business that we have, the type of business that we can build, the type of clients that we have, whether people sign up for our offers or our programs or whether they don't. And so we get our stories. Same thing when I talk about identity, right? Because our identity is strengthened and it's built. Identities that we build for ourselves is built through the self-talk, which turns into the stories that we've created. I shared before where the story that she has is like where, her business and I guess the money, it's like a roller coaster, right? It goes up and down, up and down. And I remember, oh my God, I was there. There's one time where it was like feast and famine, right? I had that feast and famine in my business where one time, it's like feast. I'm like, yeah, I got like this great sale and it's huge. And then I'm excited. And then the next cycle is famine. And it's like, oh my God. Then you're like pedaling. And then it's just a consistent, like it was just this up and down, up and down. But that's the thing but that was a story because that was what I grew up with. This is something that I saw, right? Like the feast and famine. And that was a story that I took on and I took that on in my business. Even when I was in corporate, it was like that, even though like corporate, you have consistent income, right? But it was like, okay, payday, woo, and then goes down, right? So, but all of that is in our minds about what we can have, what we can be. And so it's important to start to say, what are the stories? Like, what do you consistently tell yourself? And I see this all the time, whether I'm doing a presentation or talking to somebody and they're like, oh, I hate selling or I'm not great at selling. I'm not a marketer. And like, they just is, yes, you can identify the things that are not like that might be weaknesses for you, but it's important to start to tell yourself, and this is what I do. What is the vision do I have or do I want for my business, right? What is that vision? And what story would somebody who have already accomplished that be telling themselves at that? That's working from the vision. Because if you're working to the vision and you're looking to create from the person that you are right now, all you're going to do is to repeat the circumstances. You're going to feel stuck. You cannot create a new story. You can't create a new reality, or you can't even create different outcomes if you're telling yourselves the same story. One of the things that I started to do was start to say, if somebody had that like consistent cash flow, what would the story? So it'd be where, like when I launch something, I have people lined up on a waiting list to work with me. It's so easy to fill my programs and my offering. People, like one of the things I used to say to myself is people love to work with me and they love to give me money and they want to give me money, right? Like they love to pay for my stuff. And I kept saying myself over and over again. And here's the thing, how do we do this? It's just the same thing, right? Because it was through repetition and consistency that we've gotten these stories. It's the same way. We all know this. Our mind, the neuroplasticity of our mind, if we want something, all we need to do is to rewire our mind, our brain, to believe in it. And we'll start to see the things and it will start to filter like that beautiful RAS that we have in our brain, the reticular activating system. Its job is to filter things out to the alignment of the things that we hold true for ourselves. All of that is there. It's available. But because our story is, it's hard to fill people up. It's hard to do this. Then the ways to make it happen, that RAS filters it out because all we get, the only opportunities that we see are the things that are consistent with it. Because for the longest time, my story was I needed to struggle because again, that's what I saw. That was what I know. That was my identity. And so I can never outperform my identity. Like, Jim says this all the time. You can never outperform your identity. So the work is, how can I change my identity? We change our identity based on our self-talk, the words and conditioning. And we all know when we rewire it, we start to see that filter, that RAS starts to only allow it'll filter things out that's not consistent to abundance, to prosperity, right? It'll start to filter that out because it's going to bring in that, because that is what I've been conditioning. I'm rewiring my mind and my brain to believe it's the truth for me. And that becomes my identity, and I become to show up. Like, my goal is that when this opportunity comes, it's like, of course. Like, it's because right now I don't expect it. I'm in shock that I'm getting these opportunities. So I know that that could potentially hold me back. So my work is to make that where when they reach out to me like that, it's like, yeah, that's just the way things are. This is the way that just comes to me. And the work is to keep going, because on the other side is that very vision that you want. And it's just a matter of continuing and being consistent with it. So, all right, everyone, I will hop off. Anybody has any questions, let me know, but have yourself a beautiful weekend. And